Hello everyone. Today I am going to talk about a very sensitive issue that is very much related to the life of a working woman, and that is the sexual harassment of women at workplace. The preamble to the Constitution of India states equality of status and opportunity must be secured for all its citizens, equality of every person under the law being guaranteed by Article 14 of the Constitution. Thus, a safe workplace becomes the right of every woman. The constitutional doctrine of equality and personal liberty is contained in Articles 14, 15 and 21 of the Indian Constitution. These articles ensures a person's right to equal protection under the law, to live a life free from discrimination on any ground, and to protection of life and personal liberty. And this is further reinforced by the UN Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, that is CEDAW, which was adopted by the UN General Assembly and which is ratified by India. It underlines that discrimination and attacks on women's dignity violate the principle of equality of rights. Now, where does sexual harassment have its roots? Sexual harassment has its roots in the patriarchal societal system in which we are living, where women are looked upon as certain objects which can be oppressed, which can be subjected to any form of harassment, to any form of violence, and there will not be protest from the other side. One of this is also sexual harassment of women in the workplace. It is considered to be something very trivial, which is not going to have any effect, but on the contrary, it has a serious effect and it can seriously harm a woman mentally, emotionally, and physically. Though sexual harassment at workplace has assumed such a serious proportion, but in most cases we find that women do not report these cases to the concerned authorities. This happens due to various reasons. First of all, one of the many reasons is the fear of stigma. The woman is afraid of being stigmatized. The second aspect is that she may lose her job. She may lose her reputation, her family may lose its reputation. And then comes the aspect of being socially ostracized. And in certain cases, women actually try to overlook all these things because they fear that if they report this to the concerned authority and they have to tell about this to their family also, what will happen is that in the long run, they are going to lose their economic independence also. And economic independence is something which really matters. So they are not ready to give up their job and try to continue in any circumstance. They try to continue with their job in any type of threatening situation. They try to continue with their job, but in the long run, it hampers their mental and their physical health, their emotional health. So now let us take a look at the background of how this sexual harassment of women at workplace actually assumed a demonic shape and what happened thereafter in India. In 1992, a rural level change agent called Bhowmik was engaged by the state of Rajasthan as a Sathin to work towards the prevention of child marriage, and during the course of her profession, during the course of her work, she tried to prevent the marriage of a 1-year-old girl child, and due to which she was harassed by the male members of that community. And later on, when she reported this incident to the concerned authority, she was brutally harassed, and she was harassed by the members, by the same members who had earlier threatened her. And the Bhavri Devi case actually revealed the ever-present sexual harm to which millions of working women are exposed across the country. It also showed the extent to which that harm could go if nothing was done to prevent it. And based on the facts of Bhamri Devi, a public interest litigation or PIL was filed by Vishakha and other women groups against the state of Rajasthan and the Union of India before the Supreme Court of India. And it proposed that sexual harassment should be recognized as a violation of women's fundamental right to equality, and that all workplaces, establishments and institutions should be made accountable and responsible to uphold these rights. In a landmark judgment, Vishakha versus State of Rajasthan 1997, the Supreme Court of India created legally binding guidelines, basing it on the right to equality and dignity accorded under the Indian Constitution. Now, how does Supreme Court define sexual harassment? The Supreme Court defines sexual harassment as any unwelcome sexually determined physical, verbal or non-verbal conduct. Examples including sexually suggestive remarks about women, demands for sexual favors, and sexually offensive visuals in the workplace. The definition also covered situations where a woman could be disadvantaged in her workplace as a result of threats related to employment decisions that could negatively affect her working life. So, what are the various forms of workplace sexual harassment? Generally, workplace sexual harassment refers to two common forms of inappropriate behavior, and one is quid pro quo, that is literally this for that, and another is hostile work environment, wherein hostile, intimidating or offensive work environment is created, and humiliating treatment is likely to affect the mental health and safety of a working woman. So then came the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013, which was much needed to protect women in the workplace. And under the law, now the lawyer is obliged to create a workplace which is free from sexual harassment, which is safe and which is healthy. The Act actually provides for two types of complaint committees, the ICC, Internal Complaints Committee, and the LCC, which is the Local Complaints Committee. All complaints committee must have 50% representation of women. Now let us see what is ICC and what is LCC. ICC is actually Internal Complaints Committee, which an institution or an organization should have. And LCC is actually meant for the unorganized working sector. And now let us look into the structure of ICC and LCC. Now, in case of ICC, there will be a chairperson who will be a woman working at senior level as employee. If not available, then she should be nominated from other office or unit or department or workplace of the same employer. And minimum there should be 2 members from amongst employees committed to the cause of women having legal knowledge or experience in social work. And then there must be members from amongst NGO or associations which are committed to the cause of women, or a person who is familiar with the issue of sexual harassment. Now let us come to the structure of LCC. The district officer is going to constitute an LCC or Local Complaints Committee in every district to enable women in the unorganized sector or small establishments to work in an environment which is free from sexual harassment. The LCC shall receive complaints from women working in an organization having less than 10 workers, and when the complaint is against the employer himself, and from domestic workers. Now, who are going to be the members of LCC? First of all, the chairperson is going to be nominated from amongst the eminent women in the field of social work and committed to the cause of women. Then there are going to be members, a member who will be nominated from amongst the women working in the block or taluka or tehsil or ward or municipality in the district. Then there are going to be 2 members nominated from NGO or associations or persons who are committed to the cause of women or familiar with the issues relating to sexual harassment, provided that at least one of them be a woman and at least one of them must have a background of law or legal knowledge. Then the ex officio member is the concerned officer who will be dealing with the social welfare of or women and child development in the district. Now, what is the sexual harassment complaint process? Now, in the stage 1, it's the receipt of the complaint. The complaint is received, and in stage 1, we have step 1 where the complaint is received and acknowledged, and in step 2, the complainant is met and talked to explore options for formal and informal resolution. And in step 3, there is informal mechanism. In step 4, there is formal mechanism. In step 5, now the respondent is actually sent a letter and he is informed, and the response is sought from him. Then comes stage 2, where there are 2 more steps, and stage 2 is actually planning carefully. And in stage 2, we have step 6, where the file is prepared, and step 7, where various considerations are taken into account. And then comes stage 3. Now the interviews are scheduled. In step 8, an interview plan is prepared for hearing the complainant, the witnesses, and the respondent. And then comes step 9, where the completeness of the information collected is assessed. Then comes stage 4, when reasoning happens. Stage 4 has step 10, where analysis and assessment of the information is done which has been gathered during the inquiry. In step 11, a timeline is created to establish the sequence of events related to the complaints. In step 12, the similarities and differences within each of the statements made by the interviews is compared. In stage 5, the findings and recommendations are given, and in stage 5 we have 2 steps, step 13 where the findings are given, and in step 14 the recommendations are given. In stage 6, the report is written. Stage 6 has 1 step, and that is step 15, where the report is written. Now the following points have to be remembered during the process. Number 1, the complaint should be made within the 3 months of the occurrence of the incident of sexual harassment. Number 2, the complaints committee will inform the respondent in writing within 7 days of receiving a complaint that a complaint against him has been received. Number 3, the respondent has the opportunity to respond within 10 days thereafter. Number 4, within 90 days, the completion of inquiry has to take place. Number 5, the report by ICC or LCC has to be submitted to the employer or the district officer within 10 days of completion of the inquiry. Within 60 days, the implementation has to be done, that whatever recommendations has been made, within 60 days they have to be implemented. And number 7 is that within 90 days of the recommendations, an appeal can be made. That means the respondent or the complainant can go to the court or tribunal if not satisfied with the recommendation. Now, when we are talking about sexual harassment of women at workplace, we should also be aware of the various impact it can have. Now, what type of professional impact it can have? First of all, there will be a decreased work performance. The woman will not be able to pay attention to her work and will not be much productive. There will be increased absenteeism, and due to that, there may be loss of pay. Then there will be loss of promotional opportunities, and there can be retaliation from the respondent or colleagues or friends of the respondent. The woman may be subjected to gossip and scrutiny at work. She may be objectified. She will be defamed. She has the fear of being ostracized, and she may have to relocate because of all these things. And there are job and career consequences also, and the whole support system becomes very weak. Now, what are the personal negative impacts? The woman who is subjected to sexual harassment at workplace goes into depression. She has anxiety, panic attacks, traumatic stress, sleeplessness or insomnia. Then she has shame, guilt, and then she blames herself. She has difficulty in concentrating. She has fatigue. There is loss of motivation. She has headaches. Uh, there is personal difficulties with time. There may be eating disorders. She may eat too much or she may not eat at all, and she may feel betrayed or violated. She may be angry and violent towards the harasser. She may feel powerless, and there will be lack of confidence and loss of self-esteem. And overall, there will be a trust in all the people around her, and there will be problems with intimacy, and there will be a withdrawal and isolation. So, what can be done to make women aware? I think personally that several campaigns should be run by the NGOs and the institutions also, to make the women aware that there exists such an act, such a law that is going to protect them. Most of the women, as I was saying earlier, that do not report the matter to the concerned authority because they feel that even if they report the matter to the authority, what will happen at the end? Nothing. Because if you go and ask them, most will say that they are not aware of the existence of any such law that is going to protect their identity. There is any such law which is going to protect their identity at the workplace, their safety at the workplace. So they have to be first made aware of the welcome and unwelcome behavior, and then they should be made aware of the existence of such a law which is going to protect them. And then every institution should have the ICC organized, the ICC constituted, and not only that, it should be displayed in such a way, in such a place, so that everyone who is a part of the institution or even who comes from outside can see it and understand that yes, there is an internal complaints committee constituted which is going to look after the safety of women. And the members of the committee should work in a very strengthened, in a very effective manner, so that if ever any such incident occurs in their institution, any such incident occurs in their workplace, the women's safety, the woman's right to safety can be guaranteed. And now to conclude, the Sexual Harassment of Women at Workplace Prevention, Prohibition and Redressal Act 2013 was enacted to ensure safe working spaces for women and to build enabling work environments that respect women's right to equality of status and opportunity. And if this act can be implemented in an effective way, only then we can say that women can go out to work safely, and they can put their education into use. They can earn a livelihood for themselves, can be a support for their families, and when they go out to work, their families can be certain about the safety of the woman. And moreover, the sense of security at the workplace is going to increase the productivity, the output ability of the women, no doubt. And it will result in women empowerment, about which we are talking, and this is something which is quite related to women empowerment. Until and unless we can ensure the safety of women at workplace, we cannot really say that we are really going to achieve women empowerment within a few decades, within a few years, within a few months. We cannot say that. Only an enabling and a safe work environment can help women to advance to progress, and this will lead to women empowerment. So with this, I end my video, and I hope that I have been able to provide an insight into what constitutes the sexual harassment of women at workplace, the law that is there to protect women, and what are the various impacts. Thank you.